Hey guys, J77 here doing another flashback review, and this one I'm going to be covering the two Joe Schumacher movies, which is Batman Forever and Batman Returns, both in separate videos, of course. Um, this is the film that a lot of people choose to forget, erase it in their mind, and surprisingly, this is the film that a lot of people also put the blame on the Adam West TV series and movie that also followed. I'm gonna address all of that, including my own take on the Adam West Batman, both the TV show and the movie, and give my own personal view on it. But I want to touch on these two films before I do that, and as well as Jerry Schumacher, Joe Schumacher, the director. Now, I know a lot of people pretty much have cast all blame on Joel Schumacher for being the man who ruined Batman. Basically killed the franchise. Newspapers have said this. People who saw the Batman and Robin have said it. He has been made the butt of all jokes on certain TV shows, including the Animaniacs, who actually made fun of him, but they make fun of everybody. He was basically apologized in one of the documentary behind the scene documentaries, and it was really to the point where his credibility for some time it really went down, and I kind of felt bad for that, because for one, this was not all entirely his fault. I mean, yeah, people want to cast the blame on him because he's the director. He's in charge of the actors, what they say, how how they perform. But in all nationality, he was actually put on a lot of pressure to make this film as marketable as humanly possible. And that was largely for the aftermath of Batman Returns. Now, this film, Batman Returns, was a very dark film, to the point where parents complained of just how dark this film was, that their kids was very, very scared. There was even rumors that kids actually ran out of their seats because of some of the images. I believe that one of the images was when the penguin bite the nose of one of the campaign workers. You seeing a surprisingly graphic fall scene when the woman fell from the roof and Batman fell to save her, and she just basically crashed. You saw her hit the floor. It was a very, very quick snap, but make no mistake about it, you saw her hit the ground, which was very surprising. That could have gotten that film an R rating, but obviously it was just enough. They just actually, cut it just enough so they saw the birds come out or the bats come out, and somehow they figured that he was the one responsible. Batman was the one responsible for that, but what can I say? But there was a lot of such dark images there for kids that parents started complaining, and as a result, Warner Bros. couldn't sell any of the toys, nor any of the tie-in marketing device that they had for, like, McDonald's or other restaurants, because they pulled this saying it's just too graphic for kids. We can't sell this. There's no way we can sell it. Can't really blame the parents on that, although from when I saw it, I was a teenager, so to me, I didn't, I wasn't scared off of some of the stuff that they were showing. But I can actually understand why the little ones, the little kids who was in that film could get scared off, because it was it was out there when it came to Tim Burton directing that film. However, I have to say that I never thought the first film was made for kids either. So I don't know what the parents actually expected to bring their kids to a Tim Burton sequel of Batman, but to each his own. In all, this pretty much prompted when Joel Schumacher came in. Joel Schumacher already had his marching orders. Make it so we can sell toys. Make it so we can sell T-shirts, and have special kids meals, and make new action figures with these characters, so we can sell a soundtrack to our younger audiences. And so because of that, he couldn't make it the same way as Tim Burton made it. He couldn't make it in his own vision as making it dark and gritty, as he originally has said it doing his early commentary, because he did want to make it a dark film, but Warner Brothers wasn't going to let it happen. Warner Brothers pretty much made it clear we want it where we can market it to kids as well as adults, but we want to market it mostly to children as well. So Tim Burton pretty much made it the way the Adam West show was. Make it campy, make it cheesy, make it fun, not only for adults, for basically for kids, and that's what he did. And he started out with Batman Forever, and many people are going to be sound surprised. I actually did enjoy Batman Forever. It had its moments. Trust me, it did. Where I was like shaking my head, but overall, it was still enough where I can say, okay, it's not Tim Burton's Batman. And believe me, when you hear the theme song, which, by the way, the score for this movie wasn't as bad as I thought as it is. It's still a very good score, but it's not as memorable as Danny Elfman's score. But nevertheless, it still was a good score. Once you hear that score, you know you was in a different, totally different Batman. The only thing that actually came in from the Tim Burton's Batman was Alfred and God, that Commissioner Gordon. I'm sorry, guys. I never really gone to like that Commissioner at all. He's just something that I just didn't like. But those are the only two actors that actually came over from the Tim Burton's films. That and the fact that they did reference the events that happened in the first Batman. But other than that, this was a totally different Batman. You might as well be safe to say that that was their way of rebooting the series without actually rebooting the series. Because once you saw the film and once you saw the dialogue, which is cheesy as hell, you pretty much knew you was in a different type of Batman movie. You was in Joe Schumacher's Batman film, and I guess I might as well just break it down a little bit. The story is pretty much Two-Face wants revenge on Batman because he's blaming him from the scar for being scarred in the face, even though technically that was not the case. He was trying Maroni, and how he got acid in court is one thing. How Batman knew he was going to get acid, and he got through security was also another thing. But he blames Batman, and he devoted his life to become to just kill Batman by any means necessary, and that's how you got this situation. You got Edward E. Nygma, who pretty much made this machine that Bruce Wayne, didn't feel too much about. Ends up getting in trouble because of that. He pretty much started stalking Bruce Wayne, sending him different type of riddles and everything else. He ended up killing his boss, and he dons the name the Riddler because basically he wants to become smarter by making these TV antenna things. And I know it sounds stupid, but what are you gonna do? It's a more campier Batman film, so I'm not trying to look at logic here with these kind of movies. I pretty much know what I was getting into. But in any case, he made these things to take people's minds, and he's also trying to, basically at the same time, stalk Bruce Wayne, and actually end up helping Two-Face to find out who Batman really is. And they go on a huge crime spree to help finance this machine, which somehow made Nygma a millionaire. And yet at the same time they are just causing mayhem and all sorts of stuff, and you got Two-Face just basically trying to go after Batman by any means necessary. You have Nicole Kidman's part where she plays this seductive psychiatrist who has an attraction for Batman, basically uses his signal to call him, tries to seduce him, but later on starts to fall for Bruce Wayne. Later on figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, gets kidnapped, and during the course of the film we have grown up Robin And I say grown up Robin because that's probably one of the most weirdest thing in the whole film. I never once, when I saw this film, said that this was Robin. Not to say that Chris O'Donnell was terrible. I actually liked Chris O'Donnell's role in this film. I actually liked it how he betrayed his character. I actually liked how they connected while he wants revenge because Two-Face killed his parents in the circus ring. So it actually pretty much makes sense why he wants revenge. The only problem is that no one bought the fact that he's being adopted by Bruce Wayne to be taken in. That makes no sense. Which makes me happy that they didn't do it in The Dark Knight Rises. I actually liked it the way they handled Joseph Gordon-Levitt's betrayal a little bit more better than what Joe Schumacher did with this character. And then you have pretty much the weirdest thing, Alfred, which surprisingly Joe Schumacher used a lot more than Tim Burton did. I'm sure Alfred was actually played a lot better with Joe Schumacher's Batman than I actually thought. He actually had a more higher role, not especially in the last film that Schumacher made. And I actually kind of like that. I actually seen that he doesn't always agree with Batman does, and more so in these films that he's saying that he's actually supportive of him, but he's also supportive of what the Gracie wants to do, and that leaves a little bit of conflict, and it leads to him to talk some sense into Bruce Wayne about, hey, look, he's part of his family, he knows, might as well let him help you. That's pretty much the gist of that. The story is pretty much simple, it's pretty much basic. It follows pretty much the same way I would expect it if I was to even read in the comic book. The difference is that this film is cheesy. The dialogue is simply cheesy, and that's one of the main weaknesses of this film. It does have cheesy, bad dialogue at times, where it's just basically you just shake your head and saying, "What am I watching, a cartoon or am I watching an actual Batman film?" But I tell you now, the most disappointing thing, there's no secret about this, was Tommy Lee Jones' performance of Two-Face. Man, did he disappointed me in this film, especially when Two-Face was presented so well in the animated series, as well as even the comic books. Because in the comic books, he was not like what I saw in the movie. He does have a split personality, but he was always this serious district attorney and a menacing villain at that. And Jerry Schumacher just stripped it bare. He had a comical, non-funny, overacting Tommy Lee Jones. And I was like, wow, he really didn't even try to be what we normally expected from Tommy Lee Jones. Because anybody can play a lawyer well, especially when the roles he had made. If you look at his resume, Tommy Lee Jones either played a cop, a space cop, or something that is even closer to a man of authority. I think he played one film that I can actually say that he was a bad guy. It was a cheesy, comical bad guy. And I think it was Under Siege. But most of his movies was pretty much of him with some kind of big, high authority. And this film didn't show that at all. I did not even recognize that. I couldn't believe that was Tommy Lee Jones playing a second-hand Joker. That's basically what I saw with this film. The stuff he was doing just really, boggles the mind to this day that how they poorly dropped the ball on that. I thought they did a bad job with Billy D. Williams betraying as Two-Face, and that was because I didn't even know he was playing. I just thought he was just there. But this one, it was clear that they didn't care about this character at all, and it really did disappoint me. It was hard to swallow, and it really did drag the film a lot when it came to enjoying that particular villain. And what saved it, I'm sorry to say it, and even though he was playing the mask in some cases, but Jim Carrey saved this film a great deal. His portrayal, because I really did expect him to play that type of character, but it worked. I actually enjoyed it. At first, I was like, okay, I'm not digging the long hair scientist, mad scientist routine, but once he started donning the Riddler outfit, I said, okay, this is what I expected, and you know what? I enjoyed it when he was there. He made it fun. Val Kilmer's Batman, I didn't have a problem with Val Kilmer's Batman. He was young, yeah, but he wasn't terrible. He wasn't awful. He did have some good lines in this movie. I did like the link between him and how he was explaining his reasonings for why he chose to don the cape and cowl. It made sense, even though we didn't really need that information or that flashback, for that matter. I actually did enjoy him explaining. It actually felt right. The gadgets, yeah, it's a little bit too much, especially with the radar thing. But you know what? It wasn't like it bothered me to a T. In all, the stuff that worked, the action, I did enjoy. It was fun to watch. Was it eye candy at times? Of course it was. There was a lot of colors there. But like I said, this movie was pretty much aiming for a younger audience, and it was trying to gear for the younger audience as much as they possibly could, so I can live with that. It was dark when it needed to be dark, but most importantly, it had enough where I can actually say, okay, it's not Tim Burton, like, it definitely doesn't have the same, gothic feel to it, even though they did have big buildings. You never once felt that this was like a big gothic film. It felt like one big giant set. That's how it is. I never once felt I was escaping from Gotham, but it still had something where I can sit down and actually pop in this thing and say, yeah, this is good to make fun of. But most importantly, it will never bore me. I can still see it and watch it now, despite some of the stupidity and the stuff that's happening in this movie. I guess what helped it pretty much was Carrey's performance, as well as Val Kilmer's portrayal as Batman, and Chris O'Donnell's first outing as Robin. I really did like his portrayal. Granted, that changed dramatically in the second outing when he played Robin, but I'll get to that in a different video. In all, I did give this film 3 stars when I saw it. It's gonna keep its 3 stars. For the simple fact is, yeah, is when you look back at it, it is stupid. It is pretty much cheesy with the dialogue and stuff, but it's still entertainingly fun. I still enjoyed it. It didn't went over the top. It just stayed just the right focus. And again, they made this with the kids, with a kids audience in mind, and for selling merchandise. And for what it's worth, I did like the soundtrack. This movie. When I heard Seal's "Kiss from the Rose," I bought the soundtrack, and I've also bought Seal's second album because it had the long version of that. But I did love that soundtrack. I love the U2, "Hold Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me, Touch Me." I actually like that song. Brandy had a song in there. There was a lot of other songs, including the main theme score for the Batman film, which to me, sadly, this guy, which name escapes me, it hasn't really, many people don't mention him, which is kind of sad. I actually mistaken him for Hans Zimmer at one point, but it turned out to be somebody different. And I actually liked the score. It was pretty good. I thought it was impressive. I bought the complete score of the movie, and it was pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. So there were some good things that I actually enjoyed. It's just, if you ask me if I put it on the greatest Batman list of all time, it will not be there, but it will never be in the worst Batman list either. It's just not there. It's definitely just something in the film that is good, but it's not going to be too memorable by standards I just explained here. So that's pretty much it. That's my own take on it. You guys can give me your own feedback on the matter, whether you like it or didn't like it. But for me, it's just good. That's all it is to it. So that's my feeling on Batman Forever. And we come to Batman and Robin. So, but until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe.